own insightful take on the crux of the issue is that demilitarization or disarming or making Hamas defunct as a body of administrations and the peace body to take over, not even the Palestinian legitimate democratically elected or governments in hand in glove with Hamas. Hamas came to the fore or came to the stage only because there was a vacuum created by the political pitfalls and probably Abbas and the right kind of administration and the frustration, the resentment of the commoners in the governments and the kind of delayed and unbelieved hopes of having two-state solutions and then living in a kind of huge jail or prison. I would call it the largest prison on earth because 20 million people under subjugations and then with clearly etched out demarcations and now we see the way this peace initiative is being floated as if it's a victory for the Palestinians and it's a victory for Netanyahu as well. But actually I see it as a face-saving virtue of Netanyahu because he was losing the ground and they have already earned the nickname of genocidal butcher, and with International Court of Justice releasing an arrest order and then fearing all the backlash inside their own parliamentarian and lots of countries, European countries especially, those came forward and always supported outspokenly. And so Trump perhaps nudged Netanyahu to come to his senses actually, because there's no way forward. It's a quagmire, the kind of stalemate that both the parties have come to. So first of all, he, despite all the destructions, like 90% of the entire Gaza in rumbles, in rebels, and most of the people migrating, forced migration towards south, and then Egypt saying no to, because Egypt has to bear the brunt. And that's why, probably that's why, because Egypt took a lead and became the second man in the decision-making process body next to Qatar. And Trump formula, probably, it has lots of ifs and buts, lots of provisions which are really not practicable. Just look for, see for instance this deceased bodies which are almost difficult, it's impossible to gather together after such a long time of decompositions of the body. And since the entire Palestine is like graveyard, where you look for those 28 people, and that's why there was a claim by the Egypt that the deceased body was handed over to wasn't the person they have asked for. That means it was another kidnapper or the hostage, one of the hostages. But I can see that despite all the kind of ravaged state of Palestinians and even Hamas, they have a handful of people with only defensive arms and ammunition. There are no ammunitions and just a handful of for defensive measures, and they have taken over the entire management of how to distribute the food aids, which is trickling. But also there could be a mayhem and chaos and kind of a complete disarray, the entire distribution system and humanitarian aid, because people are dying of hunger and there will be lots of pandemonium among the people, and there can't be any peace or any kind of arrangement or management without the intervention of some people to manage to man. So Hamas' main job is to man and to oversee or to also to scrutinize that the food aid is delivered efficiently, and those people who are hungry, famished, who really need the utmost or the immediate relief. Actually, all of them need the immediate relief, but those who are really, men, women, children, those who are in the medical aid. And so no wonder that Hamas has instantly, spontaneously, and rightly, I would say legitimately, taken over this temporary transfer, or until there is a governing body, there's a peace mission, and then the peace initiative committee or board, whatever form of governance it takes over, until there is a democratic electioneering process taking place with voting rights. And so that would take a lot of time, because there's loads of destruction, to renovation, to rebuild, to have the offices, to have the machineries working, to have the transport system, to schools, hospitals, getting back to at least the barest minimum functioning level. And no doubt the entire proposal hinges on the hope that entrepreneurs, and I don't know who are the stakeholders, who are the investors, and whether Trump has his own eye on this reconstruction drive. His son is also a real estate player who has stakes in Indonesia and other countries. And there are businessmen, and there are people who are eyeing Palestine as a piece of cake for reconstruction drive. And since there would be loads of fundings and loads of billions of dollars pumping into getting into the mainstream, because many of the countries, rich countries like neighboring countries, Middle East, they're going to lend a helping hand as long as the ceasefire stays and Netanyahu come to his real senses that actually he has backtracked multiple times on multiple occasions. And he hasn't abided by the international laws. He has violated it brazenly. There has been rampant corrupt practices, and he has always been on the side of those who are really, they don't want actually any Palestinian state to exist in the first place, because they see it as an annihilation of their own existence. And Netanyahu keeps touting the same claim that as long as Hamas exists, they still fear the danger of being attacked like 7th of December. So obviously, that was a culmination of entire, accumulation of the rages, of the frustrations and Netanyahu has brought people on Hamas to take such drastic and revolutionary steps towards measures. And that it's no wonder that with these captives in the custody, Netanyahu has finally been brought to his knees, and he's reeling under pressure from the world bodies, and he's actually ostracized by the rest of the world. No business deals are being done. Arms embargo is being imposed. The European country is really forthcoming, and even this morning I heard European nations coming forward with lots of fundings to be made available to reconstruction, and they have lost the trust of Netanyahu's promises, and Israel itself is at peril, and they cannot continue to squander away billions in waging this war for so long. So it's not in the interest of any one of. So although it's a hurriedly and deliberately made attempt by Trump as a face-saving device for not just for Netanyahu's own regime failure, his own debacle at his home country, and a kind of rage and the kind of total chaotic scene all over the world, where no country is able to. There are countries which are on the fences, there are countries on the right side of the fence, the right side of So England and other countries, European countries, they also took the lead, and they lent their supportive hands. And the world has realized that in the 21st century, with world bodies getting to be brought to the although the state of non-functioning UNO and then UNESCO and then those agencies and CG, Criminal Court of Justice, which comes up with the rulings of arrest warrants for Putin and Netanyahu, and they don't actually work on the ground. And U.S. policy is like, it's always been like, it's a party to the warring factions. It's a interventionist. It's kind of imperialism always in there. They've always fought wars under any protection. Every regime has a certain pretext too. Now Trump says that if they don't abide by the Hamas, don't abide by the stipulated conditions in 25 Pumbula, and they don't disarm themselves, Trump will do that on his own. That is in direct threatening to the ongoing resumptions or escalations of this bombardment and all that. So it's a cautious optimism on my side, because Hamas is a backbone, is a key player, is actually, and it enjoys popularity among the masses. And since the entire Gazans, they don't have any choice but to just say yes to. They have to abide by any conditions laid down by the world body, and whoever comes on the scene to offer any peaceful, amicable solutions, they will be ready to accept that. Because what else can they do? They're reduced to non-inanitions, they're reduced to annihilations. There's nothing left for them. There's no future unless there is a complete rehaul and complete revamping of the entire machinery, and also the rebuilding of the entire Palestine as a separate sovereign country with its own governance and its own whatever form of government they choose to. Obviously, Westerns, they will push for the democratic set of the government with franchisee, and there will still be Israelis hovering around, supervising, scrutinizing, still be playing the cardinal, the pivotal role. And Trump cannot back out from his promises. He has his own problems at home. Today, with the millions of protesters, and they're shouting at that king. They don't want any king, like they are blaming him to be behaving like a king, where he flouts all the hitherto age-old practices, even the violating the constitutional rights of the federal states. So states have say he's sending paramilitary forces as if there is a civil war. It's a kind of treason of. So obviously, all the federal states, they have to come up with resistance policy, and they cannot accept. The government is already brought to a halt, and it's not functioning. There is a complete stopover. The employees are being fired, federal staff being fired, thousands of people are being laid off, and there is no salary to pay for even the key sectors like and the judiciary at its peril is worse, because they come up with the verdicts, and Trump always gets a way out. Then there's another huge issue of funding, and there's huge losses of debt policies, and world organizations, every organization the U.S. is quitting is not even a party to now the climate control actions, and COP26 is going to be held. It has already said goodbye to so many well-meaning organizations that have been working and which have been instituted for long, after hundreds of years of our ideals of having